Good day, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of the HJC podcast, powered by HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. I'm your host, Ryan, Saturday writer, blog administrator, whatever you want to call me. You can be sure to listen, download, and share our podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and of course on Hockey Jersey Concepts, and you can listen the old-fashioned way on YouTube. We got lots of great topics today on the show. We're going to do a great segment called Sean versus the World, which I'll explain a little more when we get closer to it. We're also going to speculate on what we'll see next season from Adidas in the third jerseys. And we also have our usual segments, fake or authentic. We'll reach into the mailbag, pull out a few letters. We got throwback, throwdown, and new this week, a chance to win a free HJC sticker, so stick around for that. As I said, I'm Ryan. Joining me today, of course, Sean's here, Monday Writer. How's it going, Sean?
Doing great. I can't believe we're already on episode 15.
Absolutely, absolutely. Are you ready for Sean versus the World tonight?
I got my Buffa Slug ready.
And that will come up. Also on the show, today, Tuesday's writer, Ben. How's it going, Ben?
I'd be doing a lot better if Cuyahoga County owned more than 3 plows, but other than that, I'm doing well.
Yeah, crazy weather all over. Here in the Toronto area, we started the day. I'm going to use Celsius, so all our American listeners, get your Googlers ready so that you can convert it.
Pull up the calculator.
We started the day at plus 10, so all the snow started to melt into slush and puddles, and quickly the temperature dropped to minus 10. So everything turned to ice, and then we got freezing rain and snow, so it was a fantastic day. But back to our guests. We also have Thursday's writer Justin on the show. How's it going, Justin?
Good to be back. It's been a long while, but I'm happy to be back on it with you guys again here a couple months later.
Happy to have you, as always. You're in a new place, moved for the semester?
I am. Getting 1 week in now, so getting in the swing of things for sure.
Excellent stuff. And also on the show, friend of the show, former writer, Brendan or Beepo. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Good to be back again. I missed a few weeks. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're happy to have anyone on the show, or else it would just be me talking to myself for 20 minutes.
Can't have that.
All right, now that we're all here and we're all accounted for, let's get started. And up first is Sean versus the World. Now, this is a very interesting segment because our own writer, Sean, he enjoys jerseys that are traditionally hated by most people. He has an affinity for black jerseys and just black jerseys that are terribly black. And one of those will come up today. And so Sean has decided, and we've decided collectively, that he would like to defend his choices. So he's picked 3 jerseys from his just god-awful list. And he's going to start, and we have our other writers on. So joining us first will be Ben. And Sean wants to defend the Buffa Slug jersey that the Sabres wore in the mid-2000s. And Ben is just going to let him have it and represent all of you and tell Sean why the Buffa Slug sucks. So Sean will actually give you first crack at this and tell us why you like the Buffa Slug jersey. And then Ben, feel free to jump in whenever he says something stupid.
It's an exciting jersey. Given that the Sabres had not at this point anything remotely blue or yellow since 1996, it's nice to see them return to it. The logo, I really like the Buffa Slug logo. It's exciting, it's new, it's interesting. While there's no swords on it, the shoulder patch more than makes up for it. It's one of the few jerseys I think the front numbers actually add something to it. The number style is beautiful. The color layout on the jersey is really nice. I like the small stripe that is added underneath the arms in between the yellow and the white. It's one of the few jerseys I think that the home and road can have the same design, but be 2 different jerseys. It actually works for this. And it's one that I think that people in Buffalo didn't give it the chance it deserved because they wanted a rehash of what they wore when they lost, and they got good when they put the Buffa Slug on, and they got rid of it, and now look at where they are now.
Ben, set them straight.
I think the Sabres' best years were the Hasek era with that goat head, but putting that aside, I mean, you say it's exciting, but I mean, I would rather have Boring and Good than whatever this is. this is just different is better fallacy. Like, people say it's different as if like that's a value judgment, saying different is better than traditional, which of course it isn't. It's just what it is. This jersey really suffers from what I call the no-show zone. It's the area in between the torso and the arms, and it's really where all the excitement that Sean talks about is, and you don't even see it most of the time. The silver on this jersey doesn't work at all. It blends right in with the white. It if you're just looking at it at a glance, you can tell it just looks like something looks wrong, even though it's not really an error so much as you just see it, and something in your mind just doesn't think about it right. I hate that shade of yellow. It stands out way too much. It's obnoxious, and I think I've bashed it sufficiently.
Well, I gotta admit, I was a fan of the logo. I was actually okay with the logo and them returning to blue and gold, but the design of the jersey is not a hockey jersey design. It's as if they brought in an artist who saw a jersey template as a blank canvas rather than seeing it as a jersey template. It's like us going into like an art gallery and trying to tell them that the sun has to be yellow and has to be coming from the corner of the painting. It doesn't work. It's not a hockey jersey. Sean, final thought on the Buffalo Slug. Last chance to defend it. Anything you want to add?
I'd just like to say that the Buffalo Slug is a beautiful endangered species. If you see one in the wild, please add it to your jersey collection. They are few and far between. Jersey poachers have ravaged this species, and we ask you to respect the environment, the jersey environment, and get yourself a slug, as generally speaking, they are quite inexpensive.
Gee, I wonder why that is. That's odd.
Can't think of any reason.
All right, well, that's the Buffalo Slug, and that's why Sean likes the Buffalo Slug. Now, the next jersey on this list is probably the biggest pet peeve of all. Sean enjoys the New York Islanders black alternate jersey with the arched orange script that said Islanders, and the Islanders wore this from 2011 to 2014. Sean, Brendan, you can jump in here. And Sean, you go ahead, defend this crappy jersey, and Brendan, be sure to jump in if he says anything out of line.
All right, well,
All right, I'm going to have to stop you right there.
The first thing that I really like about this jersey is the use of gray. And a lot of people don't like this. I mean, a lot of people don't like this. But the colors on this jersey are really nice and bright. Black and blue have a tendency to blend into each other. It's one of the reasons why, despite it being eggplant, I actually don't like the Anaheim script alternate. But here, the blue pops, the black pops, and it's got this really nice gray yoke that stands out very nicely. It's got the double outline on it. It's the only jersey I've ever seen in the NHL that made the script arched over the numbers work for me. The design on the side of the pants that made a diamond when combined with the jersey, that was really nice. Evgeny Nabokov wore it, and I really like Evgeny Nabokov.
Great point. Solid point, Sean. Wow, unbelievable.
On top of that, despite this being the Ducks home and road template, the tie-down doesn't feel like a modern jersey. This just feels like, it's never going to be the best alternate in the world. I put this on my HJC application as my number 3 favorite jersey as of 2012, and it hasn't gone far down from there. It's still top 10, one of my favorite jerseys. And the reason being is because they took a chance on something. They put out what they had, and I appreciate it. There are things about this that I really like. I feel like if people were to give this jersey a chance and look at it objectively, don't look at it as something far and away from what the Islanders traditionally wear. Look at it as its own thing. I think you'll find that you're pleasantly surprised by it.
Now, one thing that I'm a little bit surprised about, you said that this jersey has bright colors on it. Yeah, black. Very bright color, huh? Mostly black. Now, I will give the jersey credit for 2 things. One, as you mentioned, they do a good job keeping the blue away from the black and keeping it from blending in. And I actually completely forget the other thing I was about to give it credit for. I think it was something that you I know it was something that you just mentioned, but it honestly just slipped my mind at this point. But if you guys have seen, or, listened to the podcast before or seen some of my old posts whenever I used to write here as a reviewer, you'd know that I absolutely hate a black jersey that doesn't have a lot of color on it. This is one of them. And the gray, I don't really consider that color because it's still grayscale. It's like the Kings jersey. If you look at it on a black or a white jersey, or like let's say Kings versus Sharks, pretty much a completely black jersey, no color, versus a pretty much completely white jersey, not much color, but a little bit more. That's going to look boring. Black and white, and that's all you see, no color. That's pretty much what this jersey is, because you can hardly see the blue sometimes. You can mainly only see it on the socks. It half gets covered up by the gloves on the cuff, and the side panels, if you look at it on a flat template, it's like, okay, there's a decent amount of blue there, but it suffers from what Ben calls the no-show zone. It's just completely covered by the arms whenever you're standing there. The script, that's what I was going to give them credit for, stepping out of the box, doing something unique. The script does that. It's not awful, I'll admit, but it's not good. It fits more for college than it does the NHL. It doesn't make much sense in the NHL except for the Rangers. The Rangers are, I think, the only team that could really pull that off. And it just really suffers from a lack of color balance, too. I mean, I think there should be a lot more blue as opposed to gray. If they made gray like a very minor supporting color, I think it could work. But having about equal amounts of gray and blue, it just doesn't make any sense. So either make it a black and gray jersey or a black and blue jersey. I'd say black and blue would be better. Black and gray would be better than what this is right now.
This jersey was just atrocious from my standpoint. The art script I don't care about. It was silly. It wasn't fun. It wasn't interesting. It was just different. Everything was different because they wanted to do something different. They didn't want to make a great hockey jersey. They just wanted to do something different. I like the diamond pattern, the jersey working with the pants. That is the only thing I like on this jersey. It had collar laces for no reason. It was mainly black for no reason. The name on back, the font for the name on the back was ridiculous. And just overall, a poorly executed jersey. So poor that I'm not even going to give Sean a chance to retort on this one. Final verdict. The Islanders' black jersey sucked. Both of them, but I'm sure the other one will come up on another podcast. Let's go to our final jersey for Sean versus the world, and this might be a little bit polarizing here, but Sean has chosen to defend the Columbus Blue Jackets home jersey, and Justin, you're going to have to trash this one. So Sean, go ahead, tell us why you enjoy this jersey, and some listeners might actually relate to you on this one.
It's amazing what a template change can do for a jersey, and this is one of the prime cases. The Reebok Columbus home jersey was one of my least favorite of the era. It looked unprofessional. It looked better when the Springfield Falcons wore it. The numbers on the back at this point, we were all hoping one day they would switch to the style that they had on their third. And the way that the Reebok jerseys sort of curve in the arm piping really didn't help it. On top of that, up until 2015, it had a terrible shoulder patch. Come at A0. We get a nice, refined, curved piping on the arms. We get a nice new style of numbers that, while similar to the Kings in many ways, is not exact, and it adds something new to Columbus. I like this jersey because it's minimalist. You don't need a lot. You don't have to have a lot of striping on it. It barely has striping as it is, but it works because there's just enough. A lot of people don't like how thin the striping is on the socks. Maybe you don't like that. I personally like it. I like it because by doing so, it said that you're not supposed to look at this jersey as having just two pipes. You're supposed to look at it as the whole upper arm is one stripe. And I happen to really like that.
If you have to be told how to look at a jersey to make it a good jersey, it's not a good jersey.
Well said.
That's my standpoint on this one. I feel like they went to the designer and he asked him the name of the team and they said the Blue Jackets and he just heard the word blue and just kind of latched onto that and went for it. I mean, their away is nice. Like it's really nice. It looks good. It's a nice color balance, but it's like they went into their Photoshop. They changed one color and they're like, you know what? That's good enough. Let's send it off and get to the next team. They had an opportunity with Adidas to make something better, and instead all they did was change the angle of some upper arm striping. They really didn't fix anything besides aligning that yoke a little better. I just think as a jersey itself, it's super, super blue. I will say with the uniform, it does get helped out by those red pants a ton because it kind of cements the look into more of a color balance area rather than just kind of blue. I'll have to disagree on the sock striping. I think it's so thin at this point that it's pretty much negligent, and it, especially from watching from the stands point of view, you're really going to see a blue sock and not really a blue sock with red and white piping on it at all. So, and for me, I know in tons of concepts we get on the site and just tons of concepts that are out there, there's always this idea of the star on the cuff, and it's something they have adopted into their jersey, obviously, but I think Well, some people think it's a good detail. I just see it as minor league and kind of childish to have on there. It really doesn't fit the rest of the look for me.
I forgot about the star. The Jackets played the Leafs on Monday and won in overtime, but that's not the point. I forgot about the star until they were celebrating the goal. And I think that
Yep.
that kind of makes it irrelevant, unless you're going to call it a victory star. Like I like when the Lightning had the stripes in the armpits. Like
Right.
you can't see it usually, but they're called victory stripes, and you're supposed to see them when they raise their arms. But Columbus hasn't let us know if these stars on the jerseys have a name, so you'd have to assume that they don't. And also, I preferred this jersey when it was an alternate before the Edge era, and the sleeves are black, not blue. I thought that looked a lot sharper.
Mhm.
So maybe
Yeah.
I'm entering
Hold on,
Sean's
hold on.
world now.
He doesn't like something black.
No.
Black for no reason.
No, I really don't like that jersey. It's terrible. It's there's the blacks there for no reason. Now I know
Maybe
what
the black
you're,
don't need to be
I know what you're thinking, but yeah.
He
What I said
fu-
about the
I can't believe, Sean, that you're actually stepping up now, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the black is there for no reason. Like on the Islanders, yeah, it's okay. I like the black. They keep it separate from the blue, and the Jackets add a little bit of black, something that happened nearly 15 years ago. And all of a sudden, what the hell is the black doing there? This is ridiculous. Anyways, that's it for this week for Sean versus the world. I thought that would get a little more heated, but Sean, next time we do this, you'll have to come back with a really great list. Like just come out and say, "Oh, the Leafs jersey sucks," or "I hate the Hawks jersey," or something like that. Or you know what? You really want to get some people mad. We'll get all the Penguins fans from the writers on the
There we
podcast,
go.
and you just trash Penguins jerseys. That's what we'll do next time for Sean
There we go.
versus the world.
The All Penguins Trashing Podcast, 2.5.
Capitals fans will flock to the podcast then.
All right.
I'm sure even the jersey-loving Penguins fans will be okay with it if you're trashing the original Edge jersey.
Oh, for sure. I'd support that.
I
yeah.
don't mind those.
Oh my goodness.
Naturally.
All right. That's for another day. We still have to get to some speculation on the Adidas third jerseys. And of course, coming up later in the podcast is your chance to win a free HJC sticker. So stick around for that. You're listening to the HJC podcast every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. You can also listen and download on Spreaker, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and TuneIn Radio. All right, let's start speculating because that's what we love to do on the Adidas third jerseys that are rumored, or we're pretty sure are coming out next year. And we're going to invite all the writers in for this segment, Sean, Ben, Justin, Brendan, and we'll go over a few topics. Feel free to add whatever you want to this because it is purely speculation. I've seen conflicting reports that we're going to see every team have an alternate jersey, so all 31 teams would have an alternate jersey for next season. And I've also seen the number as low as 23, if you want to call that a low number. Just from my standpoint, I'm thinking Adidas would love to pump out 31 jerseys, but I would also think that there'd be some resistance there from maybe Detroit, Toronto, Montreal, maybe even Chicago too, although they do seem to enjoy their black alternate jersey. But Sean, why don't you start us off with your thoughts? How many jerseys do you think we're going to see? And maybe who you're most looking forward to? Who has the most potential to come out with a great alternate jersey?
I think we heard something from Buffalo right after that thing that they had for a couple seasons that we won't talk about. They said that they didn't want to have an alternate until after the 2021 season, which maybe was just hyperbole, but I think we could throw them onto the list. Yeah, I'm thinking that somewhere around 25, 26 is a good one. I would expect that Toronto actually does, but it'll be something like the Arenas jersey or the St. Pat's jersey or another sort of throwback. The odds of Detroit having an alternate, it's okay. Same with Chicago. I could see both teams. But teams like New Jersey and Montreal, I mean, good luck. Like realistically, I don't know how you're going to get them to agree to alternate jerseys that are not direct throwbacks that come out once a year.
Well, yeah, and going back to Detroit, I mean, I think we can almost all agree that Detroit is not a team that needs an alternate jersey. Ben, we've talked about this before. Now, just
I've written many an angry word on this subject.
just if speculating again, if Detroit was forced in to having an alternate jersey, What do you think it would be? Would we see the
Black.
2014? Would we see a black jersey just to make Sean happy? Would we see the 2014 Winter Classic if Detroit was forced into having an alternate jersey by Adidas in the NHL?
I think if they were forced into it, it would be a one-off, and it'd be either a direct throwback or maybe a fallback like we saw in 2014. But I think the team is going to put up as much resistance as they can. I think Toronto is going to put up a similar fight. Lou Lamoriello, who resisted the idea of a third jersey for years in New Jersey, he's calling the shots in Toronto now, and I think he's going to bring that philosophy with him, especially now that he's with an Original Six franchise.
From what I've heard, he's going to do the same thing that the Devils did and just have the one jersey for St. Pat's Day. And so from what I've heard, the Leafs alternate will be the Toronto St. Pat's jersey. So I think that would be pretty cool. And I'm totally on board with the Leafs having an alternate jersey that they only wear once a year. Justin, who do you think has the most potential to come out with a really great jersey?
Yeah, I mean, whether it be an alternate or just the main set, I think we're going to see some type of Barber Pole-inspired Ottawa jersey, and I think that's everything we wanted this year out of Ottawa and 0% of what we actually got out of Ottawa. I think if you look at their branding on their social media, even on their ice themselves, they have the O logo at center ice. So I think even though they haven't rebranded it yet, they're really showing their hand and really saying, look, this is who we want to be. We didn't get it done yet because we didn't have it finalized, but we're going to become the Ottawa Senators Barber Pole, and that's going to be our identity. So I think whether it's a third jersey or whether it's a home jersey, I think we're going to see that, and Jersey fanatics everywhere are gonna definitely be happy about that for sure.
Is it as simple as making the black the home, the red the alternate, and the white the road jersey? Is it that simple for the Senators, do you think?
I think it can be. I mean, obviously it's up to them if they wanna do vintage white versus regular white, make that adjustment and then run with that, or if they want to stay a red team. I don't see a problem with them doing some adapted version of their Centennial jersey and going that route. But I think one way or another, we will see the O jersey take the main crest and the Barber Pole inspired striping come back next year in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
Now, Justin and Brendan, you guys are both Penguins fans, and you guys were talking on the chat earlier. Penguins alternate jersey does this thing have to be yellow? And would a rehash of the Stadium Series jersey be a good thing?
I'm pretty certain that if the Penguins bring a jersey in, it's going to be yellow. I mean, the Stadium Series jersey was very successful, so of course they're going to want to bring in yellow. The Wilkes-Barre Scranton Pens actually right now have a yellow alternate jersey. I feel like in a way they might just be testing the waters, and I don't even know if they need to do that. I'm sure that they know from the Stadium Series that the yellow jersey is popular, and I think it could. I mean, speaking from a general fan base point of view, not necessarily jersey nerds, I think they would be okay if they brought back the Stadium Series, but from my standpoint, I wouldn't really want that. I would rather them bring back a yellow version of what they wear now, or even better, something original that looks good that's yellow.
Yeah, I completely agree on that one. I think with the Penguins leaving Vegas gold, definitely for the better, and kind of moving on from that era as much as they can and getting the new like Pittsburgh gold identity. I think they're really going to try and push that in their alternate. They come out with one next season. Personally, I agree with Brendan about the fact that maybe the Stadium Series shouldn't return. I think it was a great design for one game, but I think seeing it over 1 year, the course of maybe even 5 years, if it stays around for that long, I think it's something I would definitely get tired of. I wouldn't mind seeing them take the idea of taking the penguin out of the triangle, because I think that was a really kind of new take on their logo and something that worked well in the stadium. But I would say take that and do something more modern with it and see where it takes you.
Now, Sean, you're a Jets fan. If anyone listens to this podcast, you would know that Sean loves the Winnipeg Jets. What do you want to see alternate jersey-wise, or should they just stick with what they've done for the last 7 years, 8 years, and no alternate?
I have a tough time thinking of a Winnipeg Jets alternate I can put my finger on and go, that's what I want. That isn't a direct 1990 to 96 throwback with navy blue. I mean, I think we'd all like that. I don't think they should do that necessarily, though. I want to see them try to do a light blue jersey, a gray jersey, and I'm going to say it, a red jersey.
Oh.
Man, I was expecting that to say, I thought you were
black.
Black there, yeah.
I'd like to see a black jersey, maybe with an arch script. Maybe a diamond pattern right on the hem. I'd like jets flying all over the jersey. That would be terrific.
Dude, he could get a Jets 96 jersey on the front. It would make his life, I'm sure.
That's a double jersey foul right there, boys. Oh.
All right, let's do a quick hit question, quick response here, and this will be fun. What team is most likely to screw up their alternate jersey? And I'm going to come out here and say Buffalo, because they've done it over and over again. This is not difficult, Buffalo. If you're not going to change your primary and your road set, then just make a blue version of your Winter Classic jersey, or just go direct throwback for your alternate jersey. However, I know they won't, because they've disappointed everyone time and time again. Sean, who's going to disappoint us?
All right, so we're all thinking it's going to be Buffalo or, Carolina maybe one of the original 6 teams. No, I propose to you that the team that is the most likely to mess this up is Washington. Because what do we all want? A Weagle jersey. We want a beautiful Weagle jersey. It can even be the same template that they wear now in blue or something. Just give us something, Washington. Like, just something that is not a direct throwback. Your 2015 Winter Classic jerseys were beautiful. Maybe your 2018 Stadium Series jerseys will be beautiful. I don't know. You haven't shown them it yet. But please, give us something, because if Buffalo's at least taking a chance. What has Washington given us, aside from the 2015 Winter Classic? Squat.
Ben, who's going to disappoint us?
I've got 2 teams. I can't decide between the 2 of them, so I'll throw them both out. First one is the Islanders. I don't think they've done anything successful ever. I think they're going to stay on a low trajectory. And I think the other team might be surprising. I think New Jersey is going to botch it. They botched their current jerseys.
I like those jerseys.
I think they're just so enamored with the idea of Lou Lamoriello not being there that they can do anything they want. And they're not going to stop and ask themselves, are we going to do something good?
Justin, who's going to disappoint us third jersey wise next year?
I think I'm going to go with a dark horse candidate and say Vegas. I think they did a really good job with their 2 current jerseys, and I think, honestly, it's something like when coming from Texas, I have a lot of experience with the Stars and how they develop their new brand. And I think something they did really well was saying, look, we don't want to add a third jersey for the time being. We want to cement this design and take this new identity. I think with Vegas, I think what they've shown us so far is great. What I'm afraid of is them taking and making a Vegas alternate and doing Vegas inspired, doing neon color, just going all kinds of crazy with it. So I'm saying there's someone who I could see doing something and really, really shooting for the Stars, because they're new, and I think they could end up in dark territory.
Very interesting. I could also see them not coming out with a jersey based on the trademark infringement that was filed by the Army.
Those damn fluffy Knights.
Brendan, who's going to disappoint us next year?
Well, I originally had 2 teams in mind. The Islanders, pretty safe pick, and the Devils. And Ben took both of those, and I don't really have anything to add to that, so I'm going to take another dark horse pick of sorts. LA. Since especially winning the 2 cups in these jerseys, they've really embraced the black and white. And while they have brought back the purple and gold for blue and gold for some throwbacks, if they're creating a brand new alternate, I don't expect them to do that. I expect them to stick black and white, maybe gray. And that would be another very bland, colorless jersey if they do so. So I'm going to say LA.
I know you guys are going to hate this, but I like LA's jerseys.
I mean, they're not bad aside from the lack of color.
I like it. They're black and gray. I grew up in the 90s. I love Wayne Gretzky. LA to me is black and silver, not black and gray. So that's why I love that. That's a topic for another day. And
I don't mind the color scheme too much. The thing that really bothers me about it is the fact that the away jersey has a legitimate hem stripe and the home jersey doesn't. And it's an inconsistency that just seems totally unnecessary.
It does need to be cleaned up. Yes, that would be fantastic if they cleaned it up. However, I can oddly accept it right now that it's not streamlined. And if they haven't cleaned it up by this point, I don't think they're going to. But there's always time for more Adidas third jersey speculation. We only touched on a couple teams. Maybe next time we do this, we'll touch on who's gonna come through and really show us something awesome. Because there are teams out there like Minnesota. They always come through for me and show a great jersey, but that's a topic for another day. Right now we have to get to our next segment, Throwback Throwdown. This is Throwback Throwdown, and tonight, Saturday night, Winnipeg is in Minnesota to play the Wild. So we usually take a Saturday night game and pit two of those retro jerseys up against each other. Now I've gone off the board a little bit and gone with the old Winnipeg franchise and the old Minnesota franchise. So tonight's Throwback Throwdown is the Jets 80s jersey, the one with the, we're talking the blue jersey with the white sleeve and the red trim and the original Winnipeg Jets logo, and vice versa for the home jersey, against the Minnesota North Stars jerseys that they appeared in 1991 Stanley Cup Final with. That was a green road jersey, white yoke, yellow and black trim, and the home jersey was a white jersey with yellow, green, white stripes, black cuffs, and North Stars logo also on the shoulder as a shoulder patch. So they're going up against each other head-to-head for Throwback Throwdown. We'll do a quick review of each jersey, then we'll pick a winner. So, Sean, why don't you start us off? Quick review of the Jets 80s jersey. Go ahead.
This is actually my least favorite look the Jets have ever had. And while the logo is absolutely beautiful, the jerseys themselves always felt a little lacking, in my opinion. The striping itself was plain. It was clearly the John Ferguson Rangers jerseys given to another team. And, you know, again, if this is the worst look the Jets have ever had, and they've had some really good looks. But, yeah, it's never been a look that I've particularly looked back on and thought that's great. I never liked using it in the NHL games. It's all right.
Ben, thoughts on Winnipeg's old 80s jerseys?
I agree with Sean, but for totally opposite reasoning. I do like the design. It looks like it was something that came straight out of Slapshot. Like, you could put it against any team the Chiefs play and it would look great. What I cannot stand about this jersey is the logo. It's boring and the text is hard to read. It doesn't look good.
It's a bit of a mishmash logo.
I was waiting for that response.
Sean's mind has been blowing him up.
How dare you?
He wants to jump through his microphone and strangle Ben right now. Justin, thoughts on the Winnipeg 80s jersey?
Yeah, I mean, like Sean said, it is literally not the Winnipeg Jets 80s jersey. It's the New York Rangers 70s jersey with a new logo. Like, there's a new number font, and that's about it. New number font, new logo, new collars, same jersey. So really, like, if I got this as a submission on the site, I would give it like a 2 out of 10 for creativity because there's literally nothing there. In fact, it might get a 0 out of 10 from me because it is literally just taking something that exists, slapping a logo and a font on it, and submitting it to not just HJC.com, but the actual NHL. So definitely a big no-no in my book on that end.
Brendan, quickly on the Winnipeg 80s jerseys.
Now this jersey set is pretty much like peak 80s design. Like, if you had to look to the 80s and pick maybe one set of jerseys to kind of sum up some of how what you'd think of as an 80s jersey, this is one of them. And keep in mind, I wasn't born back then or anything. All I have is internet resources to see what they look like, so maybe I'm wrong. But to me, this is pretty much peak 80s jerseys. It's very simple. The full-length yoke is a 80s trend, but it's very simple, and it's not bad, but it doesn't pop out at you in any way. I like the logo myself, and I like the contrasting white on the blue jersey instead of having that red, but it's just it's simple and it's okay, but it just doesn't pop out at you as anything special.
I agree completely with Brendan. On the blue jersey, I never liked the white logo, but on the white jersey, I did like the blue logo, and the Heritage Classic jersey from 2 years ago just reinforced that, how much I like that. So, yes, with Winnipeg's jersey, very much an 80s jersey, and when they rebranded in 91 or 92, or brought out new jerseys in 91 or 92, it just hammered that home, how the 80s jerseys were, and it was time for a change. Going up against these jerseys are the Minnesota North Stars 1991 jerseys, and I specifically say 91 because that's the year they made the Stanley Cup Final against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sean, your thoughts on this jersey set?
They're some of my favorite jerseys of NHL history. I wish the home and road matched a little more. But I kind of like that we get a taste of the 80s, having the primary logo on the yoke. That's a super 80s trend. A stereotypical me here, but I love the addition of black, not just to the logo, but the jersey itself. And the pant logos is one of the most beautiful things I can think of. That gorgeous 3 stars going down the bottom. The Rangers font looks great, matches the logo. Striping is super simple. It could work for almost every team, but these jerseys are some of the NHL's best in their history.
Ben?
Yeah, classic logo on this one really helps, but what I really like about it is the colors and how they fit with the design. So usually it's in a scheme I like, especially with black, but somehow with the design it really works. The white yoke is fantastic, all around solid look.
Justin?
I like this jersey. In my NHL Refresh series I did this summer, I actually based a look for the stars off of these and just swapping colors essentially and getting the new stars identity on there. I think they're really well done. Like Sean said, I would like the road to match the home. I think if you just swap the green and the black, you can get it where it lines up, same striping pattern, just doing something different on each jersey. So that's something I really like to see in concepts and such. So I think it's definitely a good look. It definitely can be cleaned up. I would definitely go against Sean and clean up the stars on the pants. That's something that I've never latched onto, and I don't think was necessarily a good look. I think it was in the 80s, and that's fine, but I think it should stay in the 80s. So the fact that it's gone is okay. I don't think it should come back ever in any context, but yeah, for the most part, definitely like the jersey.
So what we've learned here is if your jersey is posted on a Monday, you want to make sure it's black so that Sean really enjoys it. If your jersey is posted on a Thursday, make sure there are no stars on your pants, or else Justin will absolutely hate it. Brendan, thoughts on the Minnesota North Stars 91 set?
Just like everybody else, it seems I love these jerseys, especially the green one. The white one, I think could use some adjustments in general just to keep it both consistent with the green jersey and just within itself. The arm striping is slightly different from the hem striping. It's slightly different from the sock striping on the white one. But the green one, as much as I'm a black hater, and that's really just for primary color. As an accent color to some bright colors like white, green, and yellow, it works great. I wish they would have toned down the black on the white jersey. It's almost a little bit too much. But on the green jersey, it's just the perfect amount of black to accent the bright colors well. The logo looks great. The numbers that match look great. Just about everything looks great. And they look pretty good whenever the Penguins won their first Stanley Cup against them, too.
I'd watch the Penguins beat a team in those jerseys any day.
About the stars on the pants, too. I'm kind of in the middle of Justin and Sean. I like the idea, but I think they could be toned down a little bit more. Maybe just a flat-colored star with maybe one outline on it and maybe not have it slanted. Just tone it down a little bit, and I think it'll work. But having it with like what it looks like 2 outlines and really vibrant and noticeable, that's more of something that I'd see in the 80s.
Now, I love the stars on the pants, and maybe that's because I was born in the early 80s, but I love the stars on the pants. And then going to the jerseys, I'm a huge fan of both of them. I love the color distribution. They're different enough that you can recognize them as 2 different jerseys, but still acknowledge that they're from the same set. So I'm a huge fan, and I love the color distribution on both jerseys. And what was mentioned before is the use of the primary logo also as a shoulder patch on the white home jersey. Big fan of that. So I love this jersey. I'm going to go ahead and jump the gun and pick it as my winner for the throwback throwdown. Sean, who are you picking in this one?
Not to add insult to injury here, but John Casey's mask from that era was one of the best of all time.
Yes.
I gotta give it to the Minnesota jerseys here. If I can ever get my hands on one of the white ones, they're pretty common CCM vintage. I'm gonna get it. Like this is just one of those vintage jerseys that if you want a good jersey from a team that doesn't exist anymore, get this one.
I love that John Casey has finally made a reference appearance here on the podcast. Ben, your winner on this throwback throwdown?
No question. I have to go North Stars.
And Justin?
I'm going to predict a clean sweep here after Bebo is done, but I'm going to say North Stars as well.
Brendan, clean sweep?
Yep.
There you go, a clean sweep, 5-0. The Minnesota North Stars defeat the Winnipeg Jets, and that's probably the way it would have gone back in the day.
In 1990, yeah.
Yeah. Couple goals from Modano, maybe Neil Broughton gets a couple, Aaron Broughton, who else? Mark Tenorti probably had a fight there.
Mike Gardner, Basil McRae.
There you go. Basil McRae. He took out a few Zambonis at the Maple Leaf Gardens.
There's a name. There's the HJC approved name. If you don't want John Casey, you have to get Basil McRae for your North Stars jersey, or Mike Gardner.
The great thing, I know people who aren't familiar or never saw Maple Leaf Gardens. In the 80s, we all know lots of fights. So when the player got sent to the dressing room, the visiting dressing room was behind the net. So the boards would open, and then they'd have to head down the tunnel. Funny thing is, they also parked the Zambonis there. So if the player was not happy about getting thrown out, the Zamboni was taking a beating. And like I said, Basil McRae took out his anger on a few Zambonis at the Maple Leaf Gardens. That was Throwback Throwdown. Minnesota North Stars defeat the Jets 5-0. Still to come on the podcast, your chance to win a free HJC sticker. And now we have fake or authentic.
Fake or authentic?
Fake or authentic? This is where I give 3 statements, and our guests, our writers here on the show, will say whether the statement is fake or authentic in their opinion, and then give a brief explanation why. So here we go. First statement for fake or authentic. Montreal's road white jersey, formerly home white jersey, whatever you want to say, is overrated. Sean, fake or authentic?
Fake, and it kind of has to do with the fact that, despite me being a Jets fan who grew up in Toronto, so I have it like for the Leafs, I also don't hate the Habs. If I had a third favorite team, they'd be them. And one thing that I like about the Habs is those damn 70s teams. They are historic. And I can only think of Larry Robinson and those beautiful white jerseys rocking it. Now, they haven't aged well. I'll give you that. And the Addy Zero only adds to that.
Ben, is this fake or authentic?
I'm going to say fake, and not because the white jerseys are good. It's because I think most people do not like them. The red one is so much better with the chest stripe. The white one just doesn't work. The red yoke kind of clashes with the rest of the design. I think most people...
So, is the jersey... So you think the jersey is overrated or isn't?
I do not think it's overrated.
Okay.
I still don't think it's good because I think people don't rate it too high.
All right, Justin, is this...
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm kind of riding in the same boat as Ben there. I think I'm just on the other side though. I think it's authentic, but only slightly so. I mean, it is not, in my opinion, a good jersey. It's a good practice jersey. I don't think it's a good full-time NHL jersey, but again, I don't really think the public perception of it is that strong. I think when someone says, oh, the Canadians have such great jerseys, they're talking about the home, and for the most part, only the home, because that is their iconic look, whereas this guy kind of sneaks in the back door and you don't really think about it. But I think it is worse than perceived, but it also isn't perceived very well. So it's a bad jersey that's seen as maybe a little better than it is, but not by much by any stretch of the imagination.
Brendan, is this fake or authentic?
Here's my turn to take over for what Sean usually does. If you listened to the podcast maybe a month or so ago, I'm not sure exactly which one it is, you know that I'm a hard fake on this one. It's fake as a blue Red Wings jersey. Because
Those exist.
I absolutely love this jersey, and I honestly think I think it might be better than their home jersey. I think the simplicity in this case works really well. The little bit of hem stripes and the red yoke, especially when paired with TV numbers and back numbers, is just enough to keep it from being too plain, but it's plain enough so that way it's not too busy, and it's just very simple, and it really, I love just how the red yoke stands out too. I think it just pops out at you as clean and simple, but not too clean and simple.
Would you ever buy a non-customized version of this jersey though? Like if it didn't have name and number on the back, would you buy it?
That's a debatable one. Whenever it comes to a blank jersey, it's not as good if it's blank.
Yeah.
But I still think it would be okay blank. I personally own one and it's customized, but I think a blank one I'd be okay with too.
I totally would. I totally get where people's coming from this. I think that one thing to note about this jersey is that it hasn't when I say it hasn't aged well. When they made the collar all white, that really took something away from it, because I actually liked the way that the original Reebok collars added blue to it, and the current Adidas collars have tried to do that as well. But going back to the 90s and early 2000s when you had that triple ribbed collar that, well, it wasn't particularly comfortable. It looked nice on the ice, and I think that if you added that little splash of color there, it really helps this jersey a lot.
I'm going to go hard.
Funny enough, I actually like the I like the Reebok like the laces version better, but I think that's more or less just that I think I like the laces, because I think I like the lace collar style on that jersey better than the one that just kind of comes to a point. But I think that the lace collar would still work good if there was like a little blue insert or little strip of blue on it, kind of like the Adidas jerseys have.
I'm going to go a hard authentic on this statement. Habs suck. This jersey sucks. Go Leafs, go.
Hey, it fits the team though, so it's good. It's a good jersey.
Yeah, Habs, you can keep your pooptacular jersey. Why don't you just wear it all the time? And good luck making the playoffs this year. We'll be watching. Second statement: Seattle will be announced as the next expansion franchise before the 2018 season begins. That's next season. Seattle will be announced and confirmed as the next expansion franchise. Sean, fake or authentic?
Fake, but it will be very soon after. I think we will hear it in the 18-19 season. I just haven't heard enough about the key arena renovations for me to really think that Bettman is going to pull the trigger on this one, because he seems to be very hasty with the whole arena thing.
Ben?
I completely agree with Sean. To go fake it as well. Just slightly, though. I'm for sure Seattle is going to be the next expansion team. It's just the timing. It really depends on the arena. And but I think Bettman will push it as soon as possible, if only to spite Quebec.
Justin?
I think kind of same idea. I'm going to say it's fake, but not too far off. I think with a 31-team system, fans want 32 teams just for sake of clarity. The league wants 32 teams just to have 8-team divisions, and it makes the playoffs a lot cleaner. So I do think we're going to get there soon, and I do think it will be Seattle. They're definitely one of the higher candidates at the moment. I think Houston is another option, but I see them as more of a relocation type scenario. But yeah, I think we'll see it, and we'll see it probably before, I would say before 2021 for sure, but before 2018, 2019, I can't say for sure that we're going to see that just yet.
Brendan, fake or authentic, Seattle's going to be announced as the next expansion franchise before next season begins?
I'm going to say authentic, but I'm going to sort of disclaim this by saying that I don't really know much about the arena and how that's going. If the arena is good enough for, let's say, the 2019-2020 season, then I think that by the end of next season, they will probably be announced as a team and maybe even have their name announced, because following the same timeline as Vegas, I believe that Vegas first started their expansion process around the same time as Seattle did in 2015, maybe a month or two earlier, and they were announced as a team a year later, and then they began play. Wait, am I off somewhere? I'm not sure, but I believe that they were announced as a team about a year later, and then they began play this season, of course. So if following the same timeline, I think that Seattle will be announced as a team. I'm not sure about the name, but possibly the name. I think they'll be announced at least as, their bid has been accepted by the end of or by the beginning of next season.
I'm going to say
a bit rambly, so sorry about that.
I'm going to say authentic
Kinda lost
on
track there.
Authentic on this one for me, because according to TSN, all the paperwork's been sent to Seattle. They just need to fill it out, and I think they're going to do that. And I think the NHL is so horny to have Seattle in the league that they will take anything that's on paper as long as it looks concrete. So if Seattle,
and as long as it's not a phone.
yeah, as long as Seattle can come up with a good presentation within that paperwork, they'll be announced as the next expansion franchise before next season begins. Final statement for fake or authentic here. Tampa Bay will win the Stanley Cup this season, 2017-18. Tampa Bay will win the Stanley Cup this season. Sean, fake or authentic?
Authentic, and I want to jinx them. Fully authentic. They're going to run the table at this point. No. They're a great team, but I think it's the West's time. I think it's Canada's time, and that's all I'm going to say on it. But yeah, authentic. Tampa is going to win the Stanley Cup.
Sean, you've just changed my answer, and we'll get to it at the end. Ben, fake or authentic?
I was tempted to go with fake because of the curse of the President's Cup and how the Capitals have been doing lately. But that sort of forces the question on me, well, who's going to do it then? I'm going to say Vegas. Their first year probably not, so,
Let's do it.
I just can't think of a team that's going to beat Tampa Bay, so I'll have to say authentic on this one.
Justin?
Ben, the capital of the Capitals. I don't think the President's Trophy had much to do with that.
Justin, fake or authentic?
I'm going to say fake, and by the same idea we just talked about, I want to apply the Capitals curse to the rest of the league and just say, you know what? There's playoffs for a reason. Tampa looks great in the regular season. They're definitely coming out like gangbusters, and they're doing everything the right way. But I think once you throw a team in the playoffs, anyone can win. I think maybe they will, and maybe they do have the highest chance in my mind at the moment, but they definitely don't have a more than 50% chance. So I think it's a lot easier for me to say fake than authentic at this point.
And Brendan, fake or authentic?
I'm going to have to say fake too, mainly because, like Justin mentioned, there are a lot of other teams that could compete for it, and you have a much higher chance of saying fake than you do authentic than just picking one team. I think Vegas, if they somehow can manage to actually take this regular season success they've had so far into the playoffs, I think they're a contender. Tampa's definitely a contender, and as much of a dark horse as this might sound right now, and as much of a homer comment this is going to sound, I think if the Penguins can manage to make a trade or two and turn around their season, make the playoffs, I think they'll be a contender. I think they could be a contender. That's saying if they can turn it around. At this point, I'm not really sure. But considering the Metro, who knows what can happen?
Yeah, and if the Leafs make a trade or two.
Penguins fan, that is a great.
Week or two ago, they were last place in the division. They won one game, and they were in the playoffs.
And now they're not. Carolina is.
Now
How
they're
does
not
that
again.
feel?
Carolina.
It's okay. They'll be in tomorrow.
I'm used
even
to
with
it
the
this
They'll
bye.
be in tomorrow, and Philly will be in the next day, and then the Islanders will win 6 straight, and they'll be in it, but then they'll lose another 5 straight. The Metro's great this year.
It's great if your team's not in it. If your team's in it, it's not too much fun.
If the Penguins can pull a 2015, I think they're a contender. They were doing awful at the beginning of the season. 2015
goodness.
turned it around to win the Cup. If they can do that again, I think the Penguins can do it. But
Yeah, we're only
that's
45
assuming that they manage to make the playoffs and assuming that they turn it around.
Sabres
But
run the
Tampa-
safe, guys.
I like it.
Sorry, back to the actual topic. I think Tampa's definitely a front runner, but it's easier to say no than it is to say yes.
Way to take the easy route there, Brendan. I'm going to go authentic because there's just no one in the East, the entire Eastern Conference, that can take on Tampa Bay, that can defend their depth, that can match their depth, that can match them line for line. Tampa Bay is going to have an easy time, I think, going through the East. Whoever they get in the first round, whether it's Boston or Toronto in the second round, they're going to handle them easily. And I think they can handle any team in the Metro. So it'll be an easy route for them to the Stanley Cup final. They'll be well rested. Even if Winnipeg makes the Stanley Cup final, they'll be worn out from the battles that they've gone through. That I'm going to go with authentic. Tampa Bay is going to win the Stanley Cup this year. Well, that was fake or authentic. We'll have to review this episode when the Stanley Cup is awarded in June and see who was right here. But coming up next, you still have your chance to win a free HJC sticker. And right now, we're going to reach inside the HJC mailbag. Mailbag. The HJC mailbag. And if you want to leave a question and possibly have it read on an HJC podcast, head over to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. On the side of the page, you'll see a form where you can leave your question. Be sure to leave your name so that we can mention you on the podcast. Any question up for grabs, we'll try and give you the best answer that we can, whether it be good or bad. You will get an answer. You can count on that. We've had some good questions left in the last week. Let's start with Dave H. And he asked, is it a jersey foul for someone to get their name on a jersey with number 69? Sean, is this a jersey foul?
This is really tough because one of my best friends did that, I think. Just don't do it to a really nice jersey. Don't do it to a rare jersey. Do it to a jersey that like a Pittsburgh original Edge jersey. Fine, there's a billion of those. You're not ruining it. But if you ever come across like a 97, 98 St. Louis alternate, don't.
Do it to a Canadians away.
There you go.
There you go. Like it's sophomoric, it's juvenile, but nice.
Let's run through you guys quickly. Ben, Justin, Brendan, starting with Ben. Is this a jersey foul?
I think this joke ran its course about a decade ago, so yes, jersey foul.
If you are above the age of 12 or not a celebrity, I think having your name on the back of a jersey is a relative jersey foul to begin with, so I'm going to say definitely a jersey foul.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a jersey foul, no matter which way you look up at it. But like Sean said, nice.
Yeah, having 69 on a jersey is just, it's not even giggle worthy. So jersey foul.
Oh, it is.
I think the only exception is if it's your own number, and even then, it's still a little bit juvenile.
Yeah, don't wear 69. Just, it's like 99.
Unless you happen to have some other weird reason for it, like it's a sacred family number or something like that.
NHL should just retire 69 now. Just
There's 69. Nice.
All right, our next.
If you get a 69 nice jersey, nice is the name, I'll give it to you, not a jersey foul.
Yeah. There you go.
Just get the name on the back that says, "Oh yeah, 69." All right, this one comes in from Alan H. And got to give credit to Alan H. Probably the longest serving or longest reader of hockeyjerseyconcepts.com next to Sean. But Alan H. has been around forever. Anyways, he leaves this question. If the American Hockey League decided to follow the NHL and go with Adidas jersey, name one team that you think would have a good set and one team that you think would have a bad set. This is kind of a tricky one to catch you guys off guard with. But in the AHL, a team that have a good set, I like the Minnesota Wild, so I think the Iowa Wild could do a really good job. But it is Adidas if we're going in this hypothetical world. So we'll see.
So should we sort of start this question by saying that any sort of direct copies from the NHL team should be off limits for this?
That's a great point. I don't like when, I don't know how many of us care for it, but when AHL teams do a direct copy of their NHL clubs, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. So I think the Iowa Wild could have a good set. A team that could have a bad set, Lee Valley Phantoms. That color palette is tricky, so it could go south in a hurry. Sean, you thinking of anyone in particular that could have a good or bad set, Adidas wise, in the AHL?
Yeah, I think of a team that lends itself not only color scheme wise, but also logo wise to the modern look of Adidas is San Diego. I think that taking the Ducks color scheme and adding the blue, they should be able to come with something relatively decent. They already have decent jerseys considering they are Calgary copies.
Ben, can you think of anyone in the AHL who would thrive or fail with an Adidas rebrand?
I think one team that could thrive is Milwaukee. They have a really nice color set. I think Adidas could do something really nice with it.
And Justin?
Yeah, I think Chicago. Oh, yeah.
At least
Ben's not done yet.
Sorry, Ben, you're cutting in and out. I thought you were done there.
Let's say one team I think that could go south fast is the Cleveland Monsters. It's an identity. I don't think Adidas is going to do something particularly good with it. I
totally forgot that they were the Cleveland Monsters. I don't pay attention to the AHL.
I was just about to call them the Lake Erie Monsters, and then I looked it up online.
And I think they changed like last year or 2 years ago.
Guys, it's the Lake Erie Monsters of Cleveland.
Is that the official name?
No, that was their name when they won the Calder Cup.
Oh, yeah. That's so sad. That's on the Calder Cup, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Like the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim with the AHL.
Yeah. Justin, thoughts on AHL Adidas jerseys? Good, bad?
Yeah, I think Chicago Wolves are a team that could really use a facelift. And I think with them coming over and being affiliated with Vegas now, I think that's something that really leaves some room for improvement. So I think they might do an entire rebrand. So I think switching kind of model for jerseys, I think would lend itself really well to them establishing a strong new identity. In terms of a team that could do it poorly, I think the Hershey Bears would be an interesting team to look at. I think taking the double brown scheme is something they've done really well, but I'm worried if Adidas gets hands of that and tried to switch something up, they could end up doing something that doesn't work well with that color scheme.
Brendan?
I'm having a tough time trying to figure out which teams I want to pick. I think I'm going to say Hershey for the team that I think could do something really well, because I think that Adidas does traditional designs decently, and I think that if they kept it traditional with Hershey and that double brown, actually I think it's triple brown color scheme, I think something could look really good with that one. A team that might not benefit from Adidas? This is a tough one. I think I'm going to have to say Stockton, mainly because I don't really think their identity has too much to work with outside of a Calgary copy, which isn't a great look in general. But I would be interested to see what they do.
Who's got the dog? Whose dog just made an appearance on the podcast? Come on.
I'm honestly not sure if that was my dog or if I just heard it through the headphones.
If you might be the only person.
Does anybody else have a dog?
I have a dog, but she's sleeping.
Now I hear them barking. It's definitely my dog.
Well, introduce them. They're on the podcast now. Give them names.
Friends of the show as well.
Friends of the show, Bepo's dogs. Let's go. Fluffy and Fluffy Jr.
Aiden, Callie, Logan, Cody, and Jasmine.
That's too many dogs. That's why I can.
Those are Cletus's kids from The Simpsons.
All right. We got a good one here. This was left back in November. Not really a question, but more of a suggestion. Could you put an image of whatever you're talking about in the video while you're talking about it? No, not anymore. Not anymore. We can't. Sorry. And thanks for not leaving your name. That's awesome. Next question comes from Burkus Circus. How many white alternate jerseys will there be next year, if any? And who? Assuming all 31 teams have an alternate jersey.
I like that question.
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually.
All right, Justin, go ahead. Who do you think?
Wow. All right, here we go.
Putting them on the spot. White jersey. Who do you think? Okay, maybe most likely, or will no team come out with a white jersey next year?
Most likely Buffalo. They just came out with a beautiful, beautiful Winter Classic that blows their current look out of the water. Fans love it. Jersey design community loves it. And it's super easy. Adidas has already done it. Just take it, remove a patch, put it on the ice, and you're good to go. I think white jerseys are something that's tough to do. So I honestly don't have an answer as to whether it'll happen next year or not. But I think if it does, look to Buffalo to be the front runner.
Sean?
Look for Montreal to Detroit to do this simply because it'll be a direct throwback. It's something easy they can throw out there. A modern team that I think that could pull this off. I'll throw it to Carolina to introduce a white version of their current red, and they'll do what Dallas did.
Ben?
I'm just going through the list of NHL teams right now, and I can't think of any that would be willing to accept. Maybe Winnipeg, because they do the Winnipeg whiteout in the stands. Maybe they want to do something like that on the ice to match the fans. Hard to say, though.
And Brendan? Anyone going to wear white as an alternate jersey next year?
I know all three teams of these were mentioned, but I'd say Buffalo, Montreal, and Detroit are front runners because, again, Montreal has a white version of their home jersey to throw back to. Buffalo has the Winter Classic jersey. And Detroit, assume from other options, they could even take the Centennial Classic jersey and just take out the silver.
And I'm going to go with, if one team is going to come out with a white alternate next year, it's going to be the Leafs. I would say the St. Pat's jersey comes back out. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they go with a green version of it, just because sometimes the thinking is that jersey has already come out, and you want to give fans a new jersey, a new reason to buy the jersey. So maybe no team, but if any team, I think the Leafs will have a white alternate jersey because they've done it before. Last question from the mailbag. No name left on this. What's your favorite type of cookie? Sean?
Oh, jeez. Free one.
Free cookie. Well done.
Ooh, good answer.
Well done.
Good answer.
Ben, favorite type of cookie?
I will go with an unbaked cookie and say chocolate chip cookie dough.
Well done. Well done. Justin?
I will go with a frozen cookie and say chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream.
Nice. All great answers. Brendan?
I'm going to say a combination. Free chocolate chip cookie dough or just a cooked chocolate chip cookie. But free is even better.
Free.
I know a lot of people hate oatmeal raisin cookies too. I don't mind them, but they're
especially
not.
They're free.
Solid raw tube of Pillsbury Snowman image cookies from back in the day.
There you go.
They used to come in tubes. Just one of those is an evening in itself.
So in conclusion,
just a frozen solid hunk of cookie dough, not ice cream. Just a frozen solid hunk of cookie dough.
There you go.
In conclusion, if anybody wants to send us free cookies, go ahead. We'll eat them. It's great.
Put that in the mailbag.
Throw some cookies in the mailbag. We'll eat them live on the podcast.
They will be on the podcast.
We'll review your cookies, like our concept, so you'll get a rating of 10.
Ben will do his from A to F, and then we'll get it done.
If you want Sean to give you a good rating, then put some black color beforehand.
Cookies. Get an inverse chocolate chip cookie. I'll really appreciate that.
All right, that was the HJC mailbag. Thanks, everyone, for your questions. Again, if you want to leave a question in the HJC mailbag, head on over to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. On the right side of the page, you'll see a form where you can leave a question and your name, and all the guests on the podcast will try to give their best answer for your question. And we love questions like the cookie question. So keep them coming. That's fantastic, guys. That'll just about do it today. There is one more thing that we do need to get to. And I did promise a free HJC sticker. So if you want your chance to win a free HJC sticker, simply hop on Twitter and tweet about this podcast. Be sure to provide a direct link to the podcast and tag us at HockeyJC. A winner will be randomly selected from those that have entered and will be announced here on the podcast next Saturday. So that's a direct link on Twitter. Tag us at HockeyJC, and we'll choose one random winner from that batch, and you'll receive a free HJC sticker. Guys, thanks for joining me on this podcast. It was a good time.
Good to be here.
Yeah, glad to be on again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good time all the time. Just a couple of reminders. Head on over to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. We have the 2017 Concept of the Year logo vote going on, as well every week Concept of the Week vote. And we're getting close to naming our 2017 Concept of the Year. We have the fourth quarter vote going on right now. So we'll take all your votes. Head on over to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. While you're there, hit the shop tab at the top of the page, and you can pick up one of those HJC stickers for $2. We also have jersey casual shirts. They're fantastic. Check out all the designs available. And be sure to tell a friend about the podcast. Share, get it out there. Let's get people listening to this thing. We think they'll really enjoy it. Help spread the word. On Twitter, we'd always appreciate that. Again, that's a way to get a free sticker. Direct link to the podcast and tag us at HockeyJC. And we'd love to hear some feedback. If you head on over to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com, check out this post with the podcast attached and leave some feedback. Let us know how we're doing and if you're enjoying what we're doing over here on the podcast. And you can always find the podcast, listen, download, share, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, on Hockey Jersey Concepts, on YouTube. And thanks everybody for listening.